This is Dolany TV, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, and welcome back to another edition of Edmonton Oilers discussion here on the channel. And a few hours ago, just after I put out my video pertaining to how good of a big win it was for Ken Holland and Edmonton Oilers free agency this season, through 2 days that is, despite signing Mike Smith, well, Bob Stauffer put out his projected lines for the Oilers in 2021 based on post-free agency ads. So, now all of a sudden, again, you know what? Nobody's signed Taylor Hall. We're into day 3 of free agency, so those rumors with the Oilers and such are circulating again. But, my guys, please, if you're banking on that, give your head a shake. Unless I'm proven wrong, it ain't happening. So, let's get to it. Guys, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and let's get discussing Bob Stauffer's lines. Bob Stauffer, obviously Oilers Now color guy for the Oilers play-by-play broadcast on 6:30 chat. I don't know what's going on. Cats are killing each other under my bed. That said, this is how Bob Stauffer projects things to look like. Ennis, McDavid, Kassian. Again, that's nothing of a shock if you watched my video from yesterday morning in which I talked about, right, Ennis, Nygaard, Benson being that left wing solution for McDavid and Kassian. RNH, Draisaitl, Yamamoto, Archibald, Turris, and Puljujarvi. That's a really interesting line. Puljujarvi and Archibald, if they can get their bodies banging, they might lead the league in hits if they decide to be physical enough on that third line and allow Turris to free them up with passes when available. And then Neal, Haas, and Chiasson on the fourth line. So by moving Archibald to the third line left wing, even though he's a right shot, you have an all right hand shot line, and then you pretty much free up that space for Chiasson to come in and get the job done on the right wing of the fourth line, maintain that he stays in the lineup for the power play, and you're good to go. So actually, the really intriguing part here with this lineup is you have Ennis, McDavid, RNH, Draisaitl. You have Ennis, McDavid, RNH, Draisaitl, and Neal as your only left-hand shots in the lineup. That's 5 out of 12. That's really interesting there to note. And then you'd have Nygaard, Kara Quine, and Patrick Russell as your extras, for which you have to figure out what they are doing. So, right, those are guys that are on the bubble, need to make the team, and need to make an impact. Obviously, 2 out of the 4 of them will make the team, and then one's probably likely to get traded or something, and the other likely to go to the minors, or 2 are likely to go to the minors if it's Alan Quine and Patrick Russell. Jujhar Khaira is the guy I'm talking about getting traded. Joakim Nygaard, at worst, is a very good 13th, 14th forward. At best, is probably a good first liner with Connor McDavid if you can untap his potential, but probably fits where Archibald is in this lineup, in my opinion. So, Ennis, McDavid, Kassian, right? That's, you know what? Ennis proved he could play with McDavid. McDavid and Kassian, they have a history together. They can go to work. And honestly, I still can't get why people don't understand that Kassian works on the top line. Kassian on the top line works for one major reason, is the fact that he can bang the body, he can go to the greasy areas, he can get to the front of the net, and he can bang home garbage. Now the other side too is if somebody takes a run at McDavid, you got the policeman right there on the ice. Zach Kassian will take care of it right then and there. You don't have to wait to send him over the boards the next time the other guy's on the ice. You don't have to worry about that. So a little bit of policing as well. And again, with Zach Kassian, if you get 35 to 40 points out of him, and you get 45 to 50 now, I'll raise it up to out of Ennis, you're doing very well on the wings for Connor McDavid, as opposed to every other year where I think the highest scoring winger for Connor McDavid for a full season or close there too has been Kassian at 35. So let's just play honestly, right? Yeah, you can say about Draisaitl, but Draisaitl is his own being, and that's a whole different story if you eliminate the one player that makes the difference, I guess you could say. RNH, Draisaitl, and Yamamoto, this Bob Stauffer and I, when we projected our lines after free agency open, this doesn't differ. This is the formula. It works. You can throw all the fancy stats, all the normal stats you want. This is a line that overwhelms other teams. Doesn't matter if they're down and out, they can hurt you because Yamamoto, why does he have that nickname, the Honey Badger? Because he is ferocious on the puck. Every chance he gets to turn over a puck on his own stick and get it in the back of your net, he's going to do it. Draisaitl, MVP of the NHL, RNH point per game player now all of a sudden. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry, you do not get a better second line in the NHL than this. And in fact, realistically, this is 1A, 1B with the McDavid line if you're talking in terms of talent and potency, because once you put Ennis up there, it does raise the profile of the McDavid line a little bit. Archibald, Turris, Puljujarvi, this is really interesting, but it's similar to that second line. The reason it's similar to the second line and why I think Bob Stauffer is so intrigued by throwing this combination together is Archibald is a wrecking ball, Puljujarvi 6'4", and Turris has puck skills to distribute to two guys that can finish goals. Josh Archibald has scored some pretty goals last year and scored some gritty goals. Yes, Puljujarvi, you just have to pass him the puck and tell him to shoot it, and that's what he's going to do well this year, hopefully, and that's going to lead to a big offensive increase in production from our third line. Neal, Haas, Chason, there's not much to be mentioned there. You know what they do. They go to work and they bang the body and they get the job done. Nygaard, Karaquine, we've already talked about them. So let's talk about the other guys on the defense. Oh yes, the defense. Post free agency, D's and goalies, according to Bob Stauffer. Nurse and Bear is still an RFA. Don't you worry. We've got cap space to sign Bear. Just have to figure out how to make it all work with Oscar Klefbom in the LTIR. Jones, Larson. Yeah, you know what? Here we go. This is the best part. Is Bob Stauffer and Jack Michaels on the panel post-draft. We're talking with Tony Brar about possibly throwing Jones to the Wolves and saying you're our number one left-hand shot D-man. And I don't see why you wouldn't do that with Caleb Jones. You've seen how he's come into the NHL, whether it be in 18-19, now in 19-20, and he's just a guy that feeds off of the big stage. And really, you know what? Look at his brother, Seth Jones. Very good defenseman for Columbus, so I don't see why Caleb Jones doesn't have that capability in him to get the job done and really evolve into a number one D-man for the time being, right? I'm not asking him to be the number one D-man in the league, not even number one D-man really on the Oilers, but the fact on the left side that he could munch minutes and be offensively productive, that shoulders a little bit of the load that obviously a guy like Darnell Nurse now faces, and you see what happens when Darnell Nurse faces a load on his shoulders. He kind of gets down on his knees in the crease and starts kicking Koskinen in the head, trying to make the save like he's the goalie. So we'll just reserve comment from there. But Chris Russell and Tyson Barrie, this is interesting because here's the other side too, is the Oilers defense is no longer going to be 22, 25 minutes a night top pair, 20 or 17 to 20 the next, and then you have your 11 and 14-minute guys. You're going to see these guys spread it out a lot more evenly over things because you just have to without Klefbom in there. And I guess it depends how much power play time there is and stuff, but end of the day, you're going to have to spread the defensive time out a little bit more. We know Nurse and Bear are not capable of eating 25 minutes a night and giving you winning hockey every single night. So is that Jones and Larson shouldering more load? Obviously. Chris Russell and Tyson Barrie, yes, they have to do it as well. And then William Legason, Evan Bouchard in there as your 7 and 8s. But Bob Stauffer, just as everybody else in Edmonton Oilers land right now is doing, the wild card is Philip Broberg. The guy is evolving quickly, and my goodness, it looks promising. So what ends up happening with Broberg, say come December 15th for training camp, what do you end up doing with him? Do you actually put him into the NHL lineup and try to fill that hole of Oscar Klefbom with a Philip Broberg? The kid's big, don't forget that, but is he ready? That's going to be the question. He's looking more and more like it. Look at how good he looked after training camp for the Oilers for the bubble. That was pretty stellar, so don't forget that there. And then you've got the goaltending situation, which we clearly know. Koskinen is the 1. Smith is the 2. Anton Forsberg is the 3. And ladies and gentlemen, that is how Bob Stauffer sees the Edmonton Oilers. lineup shaken out. And of course, see, there's a way to be said for everything. And honestly, I saw the lineup combinations you guys put in the comments, and there's a million ways to build this Oilers lineup to have success. And even as early as last year, we could not say that going into the season. So this is very interesting to see how the Oilers lineup stacks up come training camp in December. We're probably about 2 months away from that, which, oh, thank goodness, because it's been a long time without hockey. And of course, my buddy Thrash that does NHL 21 on YouTube, he was talking. I was telling him that, and he was talking. Well, imagine how me, a Wings fan, feels, and yeah, that's fair. So let's get back. Let's fast track these next 2 months and get back to hockey, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Tyson. This is Stolen TV. I am up on out of here.